And let's go live. All right, we is live. What is up, perps? Let's see. Just kind of bouncing around. As usual, trying to get a few things squared away. Excuse me. So, okay, I got that taken care of. So I was replying to a couple of guys real quick on some other stuff. So, anyway, give it a couple minutes. We'll see who all shows, see if anybody does show. It's middle of the day on a Friday, and we'll see. So anyway, make sure while I'm sitting here, make sure I'm getting all my information straight. Like I said, we'll give it a few for everybody to show up. In fact, I gotta download this real quick. Something from last night about the Bruin decision. So let me get that done and out of the way because I didn't do it last night. All right, that's done. So now I did remember this time at the last damn minute to go ahead and post the links for the affidavit and for a couple sections of firearms code down in the description of the videos, both on YouTube and on Rumble. So if you guys wanted to completely bail and then go look at that stuff on your own, cool deal. It's right there. Trying to see. I'm just trying to give it just a minute, guys, but I'm trying to also square away a bunch of stuff on the computer too. AR just went off. Just watching AR before I started this stream, just hanging out with Elliot. Elliot's drinking coffee and shooting the breeze, which is always cool. He doesn't tend to dive off in rabbit holes like I do. Guns and Blades, what's up? Lightning Scott, what's happening, my brother? Letting everybody stream in. So anyway, Guns and Gadgets. I didn't know this warrant was out. Guns and Gadgets found it last night. Guns and Gadgets did a stream on it. And I decided, hell, I'll do one too because I want to read it for myself. And for you guys that don't know or haven't seen it yet, if you're living under a rock, it's funny, we're going to look at something from Little Rock. So let me go ahead and pull this up. We'll kind of give everybody the background on it real quick. So this gentleman, Bryan Malinowski, I'm probably slaughtering his name. Anyway, ATF raided his house. I guess it was Thursday. I guess it was Thursday morning. Yesterday morning. Or maybe in Wednesday. I don't know. It's one of these mornings, man. There's so much stuff I've been trying to keep track of. I'm kind of losing days. But anyway, ATF raids this guy's house at 6 o'clock in the morning. This guy hears someone kicking in his door. He shoots. Cops shoot. One of the ATF agent apparently takes a couple hits. This guy ends up getting shot in the head. And from what we understand now, he actually has passed. And Legally Armed America, let me post his in the chat real quick because he did a story about this last night. Let me hold on. I'm going to have to add something to my watch later so I can get to it. Something Chessboard sent me. I gotta watch. Let me see where I can find this. I've bounced through a bunch of videos today while I was sitting here working and doing other stuff, but I might be able to find Paul's in my watched videos pretty quick. This one I was watching DLD stream. Here it is. So if a lot of things don't piss you off, this should really, really piss you off. And basically what it is this guy, when he was shot in the head, put on life support, his family wanted to donate his organs, and somehow the ATF found the power to stop this guy's family from donating his organs, apparently, which I still ain't figured out how the ATF would have any damn power to do that. So Legally Armed America, watch him. If you're not following Paul at Legally Armed, he's a good channel. Does a lot of really solid content on our freedoms, on basically anything surrounding the Second Amendment and government overreach. Go figure. And let me see. So let's do. This is where I picked up the warrant because Yahoo News actually posted a link to the warrant. And we're going to go through the warrant. Talks about him buying guns and then selling guns. Now, this part right here, which part of this is claimed in the warrant itself, we're going to look at. The ATF claims that 6 of his guns were found in connection with crimes. Well, we're going to look at that. So let's see. Where'd my warrant go? Did I lose my warrant? Yeah, let me go back up here and grab it again. All right, so we're going to kick over. So here's the warrant. And it's redacted. There's a lot of stuff in this warrant that's redacted. But of course, they got to protect sources and things like that. I understand some points of it. But let's look down here because there's a couple things we're going to hit right at the start of this. And I was just doing some really quick kind of research and looking. So these are the 2 code sections at the start of this warrant that they say that he violated. So that's what gave them the authority to go in and do this raid, right? One car, what's up, my brother? And what we're going to see first off in this warrant, they've got the wrong code section for the second part of this warrant as 921A6. 922A1A. Let me bring that up. Let me share this. So this is the first code that they say this guy violated, which gave them a right to go in and conduct this warrant. So again, this is, let me roll up so everybody can kind of see the title. And I use Cornell Law School for a lot of stuff anytime I'm looking at legal stuff on firearms. So this is 18 U.S. Code 922, Unlawful Acts is the title of this code section. 922 basically it defines all the illegal acts. So starting out with A, it shall be unlawful, the one for any person, okay, except for licensed importer, licensed manufacturer, licensed dealer to engage in the business of importing, manufacturing, or dealing in firearms, or in the course of such business to ship, transport, or receive any firearm in interstate or foreign commerce. That interstate or foreign commerce part, AR was asked about it last night when we were looking at some oral arguments, where he asked about most gun control being based off of Commerce Clause. That's where that comes in. And that started out with the 1934 NFA. But here's the deal. when they say to engage in the business of importing, manufacturing, or dealing in firearms, they never define what actual dealing in firearms is. Now, there's some ATF opinions that say that someone is, now they've changed it, and this is where we get into the Biden administration and the ATF going off the rails. If you are making a profit from selling these guns. See, they don't define how many guns you have to sell. They don't define how long you have to have guns before you sell them. None of that's defined. This is where I argue with this code section, and this is where I argue with what the Biden administration is doing right now. And what it looks like what this guy was doing was merely flipping firearms. He had a well-paying job, home, wife, by all intents and purposes was a upstanding citizen. He just enjoyed flipping firearms. Some people flip cars, some people flip furniture. He decided he wanted to flip firearms. What's up, Warsaw? Let me move because I'm running a little bit different setup. So let me move this closer where my blind ass can actually see the chat. Talked to John yesterday. He's going to be busy. Hey, dude, I'm fine. We can do this stream whenever, Warsaw. The biggest thing is we just try to get this information pushed out. And to me, I don't care how many streams we do. I don't mean to sound secretive, guys. Todd Vandermeide had put out an idea of contacting Jim Jordan and trying to get him to get hearings with some of these federal judges who refuse to follow the Constitution, refuse to follow Bruin's guidelines for anything involved in the Second Amendment. And that's the idea we're going to kind of push more and more and see whether we can get this idea out there and actually get people pushing that idea further. So trying to get John Crump, Rich, probably Dark, definitely Todd, Warsaw, a bunch of us, just to start putting that out there because we really want to see some things change. And so far, these circuit and district courts are not upholding our rights. Well, look, I honestly think after reading this, and of course, they got pictures of him at a gun show selling guns. I think he just liked flipping guns. So what? That doesn't bother me in the least. So again, it's never the business of selling firearms is never defined in this code section. We get it from a ruling from the ATF. What was it, year before last or last year, that basically said if you were making any kind of profit on selling a gun, then you were in the business of selling firearms and you needed to have an FFL, which is absolute horseshit. Because there's no definition, again, on how long you've had the gun, how long you have to keep the gun before you can sell the gun, none of that. And we all know there are people out there that like flipping firearms. Who cares? But so, and then Dark and Rich were talking about it on Dark Stream last night. I watched it this morning, and Marine Gun Builder was talking about how, the government will lie in warrants, and yes, they will. But the fact is, regardless, if this guy was selling firearms or not out of the trunk of his car, I don't care. If he just enjoyed flipping firearms and like that, that's not illegal, and it should never be illegal. The only time it would be illegal is if he knew 100% that he was selling guns to convicted felons. And I will argue about the kind of legality on some of that, or what it should be anyway. Because if you're out on the street, you should be able to have guns. But anyway, there's no proof this guy knew that anybody he was selling to was a convicted felon. And we'll look through the actual crimes they list where his gun showed up, and, well, it's a bunch of horse shit. Oh, my headphones died. All right, we're going to have to roll this one raw. Apparently, I should have charged my headphones. So you guys let me know if the audio is still good. And let's look back at this, kind of remind where we're at. So this was the first code section they were talking about, which is 922A1A. The second code section they list down here is 18 USC 921A6. That's the wrong code section for unlawful acquisition of a firearm. Unlawful acquisition of a firearm is still a 922. When they list 921, again, we'll go up to the top of this just to show that Coop's not full of shit. So if you listen to look at code section U.S. Code 921, come down through section A, come all the way down to section 6. What we're looking at is the short-barreled rifle and the definition, or short-barreled shotgun, and the definition of the short-barreled shotgun. It's got nothing to do with what this guy was doing. So if you come over to 922 again, let's roll back up. So again, 922, unlawful acts. Roll down here and here to section 6. It is unlawful for any person in connection with the acquisition or attempted acquisition of any firearm or ammunition from a licensed importer, licensed manufacturer, licensed dealer, licensed collector, knowingly to make false or fictitious oral or written statement, or furnish or exhibit any false, fictitious, or misrepresented identification intended or likely to deceive such importer, manufacturer, dealer, or collector with respect to any fact material to the lawfulness of the sale or disposition of any firearm ammunition under the provisions in this chapter. What they're saying there is he was lying on his 4473. That's where they're coming with that code section. So what they're saying is damn it, I didn't show it. Forgot to switch tabs. So anyway, here we are. So what they're saying here is with this code section that he lied on his 4473. And when we look at the affidavit, what you'll see is what they're saying is he was not the intended purchaser of the firearm because he was going to then flip the firearms and sell them later, which is absolute horseshit. If it's my property, if I buy it legally, the government should go eat a big bag of dicks, and I should be able to do with that property whatever I see fit, as long as it's not wrongfully depriving someone else of life, liberty, or property. So let's come back to the affidavit. Now that we know they can't even get the freaking code sections right. They actually get it right in the body of this, but they screw it up at the top. Let me get that to the right size so we can see it. All right, so back to the warrant, the affidavit itself. So these are the code sections they're charging it, or they say they have the authority underneath these two code sections. Do you guys have an echo, or is it just me catching an echo because of my setup? If you guys are catching the echo too, I'll switch it up and try to get rid of that echo. So this is from one of the district courts in Arkansas, Eastern District. All right, good deal, Lightning. All right, so the basis of the search warrant is evidence of a crime, contraband, fruits of a crime, or other illegally possessed property designed for use, intended for use, or used in committing a crime. That's their conditions for it, I guess. And then there's kind of a repeat of that. And then here's where we get into the agent who is putting this search warrant together. No echo, good deal. Then we're gravy then. I'm just catching it on my end. It's probably because of the setup I'm running, so it'll be okay. I wasn't catching it on my headphones, but as long as it sounds good, we're doing it live. I need to find that clip one day. All right. So you're a affiant. I can't pronounce that damn word half the time. As an investigative or law enforcement officer of the United States within the meaning of Title 18 United States Code, and then they get the code section for basically who can attest all this. Empowered by law to conduct investigations and to make arrests for offenses enumerated in Title 18 United States Code. And it says this guy is a special agent with the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives. He's assigned to the Little Rock field office. He's a statist, plain and simple. And this is where it goes through kind of his qualifications or what his credentials are. Conducted over 200 plus hours of cellular data training. That comes in because he got one of the guy's phones. This is all just a bunch of absolute horse shit trying to prove that this guy is credentialed to be able to do this kind of investigation. Your affiant knows Cash App, PayPal, Zilla, and similar online money transaction accounts, digital applications commonly used via cellular phones to purchase or pay for both legal and contraband items such as firearms by prohibited persons. Let's keep bouncing. No cellular telephones. Will retain text messages, contact lists. Yes. No matter what you try to delete, it's going to be there. Why do you think Hillary Clinton beat all of her electronic devices with hammers and shit after she washed them with bleach bit? Also been involved in various types of electronic surveillance. Come on, let's jump down. So your affiant knows Title 18 U.S.C. Section 922A6 Gun Control Act makes it unlawful for a person in connection with the acquisition or attempted acquisition of any firearm or ammunition from a licensed importer, licensed manufacturer, licensed dealer, or licensed collector knowingly to make false fictitious, damn, I'll learn to talk one day, oral or written statements to furnish and exhibit any false. That's basically getting into the code section. So he's saying, you can't lie on a 4473. I suggest to the class this guy didn't lie on this 4473. And then it says he knows Title 18 United States Code 922A1A of the Gun Control Act. Unlawful for any person except a licensed dealer engaged in the business of importing, manufacturing, dealing in firearms, or in the course of such business to ship, transport, or receive any firearms in interstate or foreign commerce. I'm really, really hating interstate or foreign commerce right now. All right. Knows the term firearms and definitions. That's on 921, which is where they got part of the code section wrong at the start of this warrant, because 921 is all your definitions for firearm, short barreled, all that shit. Let's see. Framer, receiver of any such. Just the code itself. Says your affiant knows the term dealer as defined under Title 18 U.S.C. Code 921 of the GCA. Any person engaged in the business of selling firearms at wholesale or retail, or B, any person engaged in the business of repairing firearms or making or fitting special barrels, stocks, triggers, and C, business of selling firearms has never been defined in any of this. Fast and Furious 2.0. Yeah. As far as I know, they can't track his guns back to anybody being murdered. So there's that. Knows term engaged in the business. All right, we went through that. Let's read this real fast. Who devotes time, attention. A person who devotes time, attention, and labor to dealing in firearms in a regular course of trade or business to predominantly earn a profit through the respective purchase or resale of firearms, but such terms shall not include a person who makes occasional sales, exchanges, or purchases of firearms for the enhancement of a personal collection or for a hobby. Again, that's not defined. Or sells all part of his personal collection of firearms. Notice there's no hard number there. This guy was doing this in his off time when he wasn't at work managing an airport. I suggest to you that is a hobby. This guy isn't a criminal kingpin out trying to arm all the gangsters on the planet. knows the term to predominantly earn a profit, as defined in 18 USC, and it's really not defined real well, means the intent underlying the sale or disposition of firearms, predominantly one of obtaining I can't pronounce that damn word. I can't speak half the time. Pecuniary gain, as opposed to other interests, such as improving, liquidating personal firearms collections, provided that proof of profit shall not be required as to a person who engages in the regular and respective purchase and disposition of firearms for criminal purposes or terrorism. Our firearms laws are so fucking screwed. What would you say, Matt? Really need to go after the Commerce Clause. Yes. I wish to God we could start attacking the Commerce Clause. However, there's no chance in hell these courts even allowing an attack on the Commerce Clause because so much gun control is based off of it. But I would really love to see the attacks on it because that is one way that we could stamp out a lot of this horse shit. All right, information in the affidavit is based on your affiant's personal observations, information received from outside sources, information received from corroborating witnesses, review of recording and text messages, review of records and law enforcement database records, records of the purchase of firearms, firearms parts and accessories, information received from other law enforcement agents, experience and training. So this is all, again, this is getting into the justification for this warrant. And this is where they kind of get out of saying some stuff because affidavit's limited purpose. It does not contain all the facts known to your affiant or other law enforcement officers about the investigation. Additionally, conversation summarized and subscribe. Jesus Christ, I'm going to learn to talk one day. Transcribe below do not necessarily represent the entirety of the conversations. All right. Facts set forth this affidavit. This is where they find the probable cause. So there is, based on the affiant's experience and training, they find probable cause to believe that violations of 18 USC 922A1A and 922A6, see, they get it right there. They don't have it right at the start of the warrant, may have been committed by Bryan Keith Malinowski. Again, I'm going to slaughter his damn name. There's also probable cause to search the property described in attachment A for evidence, instrumentalities. How come I can pronounce that right? And for fruits of these crimes further described in that attachment B, this affidavit is made in support of the search warrant for the residence, electronic devices, including all cell phones, any storage safes. That's where the fire department was going in to help them break into the safes. Further described in attachment A1, subject property, even gets into searching his white 2022 Toyota Highlander. They give the vehicle identification there. This is where it gets into where the court has jurisdiction according to the code, blah, blah, blah. By way of background, so this is part more about the ATF. ATF works in conjunction with the various law enforcement agencies within the United States by tracing the acquisition and disposition of firearms received there that are sourced in the U.S. ATF also assists bordering countries, Canada and Mexico, in the investigation of firearms-related crimes, which is funny because the ATF is the one who committed those firearms-related crimes. And, in fact, had more crimes committed with their firearms. Yes. Check one box on a 4473. Notice Hunter Biden didn't get raided by the ATF. I wonder why. Okay. So this is where it gets into the Crime Gun Intelligence Center, the National Tracing Center, the NTC. When a firearm is recovered by a law enforcement agency, both inside the U.S. as well as Canada and Mexico, a trace request may be submitted to the NCC, the National Trace Center, by a recovering and or related investigating agency to initiate a trace. This is where they're throwing the groundwork out there that they trace these firearms back to this guy. For an individual to purchase a firearm, they must appear in person at the premises or authorize alternate location of an FFL upon presenting valid government-issued photo identification. Boy, we need that to vote. Verified by the FFL, an employee or designee. The individual purchaser, transferee, or buyer, in conjunction with the FFL transferor or seller, must complete ATF form 4473. So then they get into the information that's on the 4473. This is where they're building the case that he lied on the 4473 to obtain firearms that he then sold. And again, I'll argue with this because he was the purchaser of the firearms. He just decided he was going to flip those firearms for a better price. And what you'll see is he was buying a lot of these guns off of Gunbroker, having them shipped to his FFL, going through the background checks on the 4473 at his FFL, and then he was receiving the firearms, and then he was later selling them. Again, all things that don't matter to me at all. So this statement right here is basically where they're telling you that you have to tell the truth on a 4473. If not, you could be fined $250,000, 10 years in prison, or up to $1 million if you're basically selling these firearms internationally. So if you're crossing borders of countries with these firearms, then you could be fined up to $1 million, and it's 20 years in prison. Okay. The warning cautions that the information provided is used to determine if the purchaser is prohibited from receiving firearms and explicitly reads any person who exports a firearm without proper authorization from either the Department of Commerce or the Department of State is applicable or as applicable is subject to a fine of not more than $1 million and up to 20 years in prison. Now, there is no proof that he even transferred a firearm to another country. Why is that even being mentioned in here? If he sold a firearm and someone else transferred the firearm to Canada, Mexico, somewhere like that, that's not him. So there's no reason to even get into that in here, besides the fact that they're just trying to throw everything they can in there to make it sound even worse. Check out the Mike Ben. Recently posted some eye-opening facts about the issue. Yeah, Warren Love. I'll check it out. But yeah, good dude. Just hang out. This is going to be one of those. I have no idea how long this is going to go. It's probably going to go a while. So good to see you, brother. All right. So getting into the next section in the 4473 firearms description and information, this is where you'd have to fill out the type of firearm, make, model, serial number, type, gauge, caliber, all that. And again, they're just trying to build the case, trying to make this guy look as bad as they can possibly make him. In Section B, the form is required to be completed by the purchaser. Transferred buyer requires purchaser identification or identifying demographic information. So this is where you put in all your BS, social security number. I love this part. So social security number, optional, but will help prevent misidentification. Bullshit. Because I put mine in on every FFL transfer that I've ever done, and still on the last one, they screwed it up. And then had to admit damn near a month later that it was their fuck up. All right, let's see. Let's get this. I'm trying to get the text as big as I can so everybody can read. All right. Section B also requires the purchaser respond to a series of yes or no questions. Under 21A through 21K, the questions are used by the transferor, so the FFL, to determine if the purchaser is prohibited from possessing or receiving firearms. I don't even see why they mentioned that, because by all information that I've seen, it's not like this guy was prohibited from selling or from purchasing firearms. He wasn't. Again, this guy was an everyday stiff who just decided he wanted to start flipping firearms. Then they go through all the questions. Are you a fugitive from justice? Have you ever been convicted of it? Yada yada. It's all the same questions. So question 21.1 specifically asks, are you the this is where they're building that case again. Section 21.1 specifically asks, are you the actual transfer buyer of the firearms listed on this form and any continuation sheets? Jesus Christ, I still can't talk. In bold font continues the warning. You are not the actual buyer transferee if you are acquiring firearms on behalf of another person. If you are not the actual buyer transferee, the licensee cannot transfer the firearm to you. Now, he was buying these products, and yes, he was buying them to flip them. But buying property to flip property, whether it's a car, whether it's a house, a piece of furniture, you are still the purchaser, the buyer of that property. People don't think the ATF will go out there and just wreck somebody, some average dude, for damn near nothing. They need to wake up. Bad. Mike McClune, what's up, my brother? Just sent you a reel on IG, PA Gun Rights Association. 2 bills going up for vote next week in PA. One is homemade firearms, parts, other assault weapons. Oh, Jesus Christ, Mike. I knew those were coming. We're going to have to keep an eye on it. We'll be running those shows whenever we see them. And yes, Lightning, he actually was the buyer. He was actually the purchaser. He didn't have someone else standing there with him where they ran the FFL background check on him and then he just handed the gun to someone else. That's a straw purchase. Me buying the gun and then deciding, hey, I'm going to sell this. Even if I decided, I'm probably going to sell this as soon as I get it. Still, I'm the purchaser. I'm the buyer. Matter of fact, when we listen to the oral arguments for, Abramski, which was an older case, but we listened to oral arguments for that, and some of the justices for the Supreme Court were basically saying the same thing. What does it matter if someone buys a gun, walks out in the parking lot, and sells it? They were the purchaser at the time when they received the gun. It's their property at that point. Shouldn't matter what they do with it. And these were justices off the Supreme Court asking those questions. Let's see. Between questions 21 and the certification portion 22, the following statement appears. I'll blow that up a little bit more and we'll skim it real fast. I certify my answers in section B are true. So this is your certification that everything you answered was true and correct. Is basically all that statement says. All right. The certification statement cautions specifically, I understand that answering yes to question 21A, if I'm not the actual transferee buyer, is a crime punishable by a felony under federal law and may also violate state or local law. It also warns, I understand that making any false oral written statement, getting back into it, any false misrepresentation statement, whatever, is punishable by a crime. It's a felony, or punishable by a felony. It's a crime. And I still say this guy didn't lie on it. This guy was buying firearms for himself. He just decided he wanted to resell his own property. Yeah, punishable by apparently a no-knock raid too. I promise you, dude, you kick in most people's doors at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't care if you scream police. One, they might not hear it. They might be so tired they don't even understand what you're saying. But two, it's not like a criminal couldn't kick in your door, scream police. There was a short video that I posted over on Twitter the other day. I can't remember who posted it, where I found it. But it's gangsters kicking in a guy's door at like 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, screaming police while they're kicking in the guy's door. So it's not like a criminal can't just scream police. And it's not like this dude, who looks about as milquetoast as you can possibly get, was some criminal mastermind. You couldn't have just pulled over on a stop and been like, look, man, we need you to come with us. We got questions. This was not a criminal mastermind where you had to go kick this dude's door in at 6 o'clock in the morning and go start shooting. I would be highly interested to know, because I don't think the ATF agents are wearing body cameras. Let's see, getting back to this. So the background check portion of this form is documented by the FFL, Section C pages. And this where you could use your carry permit in place of your NICS check, which I don't think this dude did, unless I skimmed over it, didn't see it. All right, when a NICS check is initiated by an FFL, NICS provides a unique identifier for the basically of the transaction itself. That's how, like, when I got denied and then delayed and then it went to pending, we were able to, my FFL was able to talk to the ATF and be like, look, here's a unique identifier of this. Why is this guy delayed? And then, of course, the ATF admitted later, oh, we have no idea why. It's just our system, which is fucking ridiculous. All right. So then it goes through what can happen if you're delayed, or whether you're denied, whether it's pending, whether you get to proceed. Typically, every transfer I've done within about 5 minutes or less has been a proceed, except for that last one, for whatever fucking reason. All right. And then this is the section that's got to be completed by the transfer or the seller. And you'll see down here where they've got to click whether it was a proceed, whether it was denied, whether it was canceled, whether it was delayed. And then you'll see the firearms may be transferred on, because it's either 3 or 5 days, 3 or 5 business days if you were, say, delayed, or if it went to pending. After 3 or 5 business days, you can legally transfer the firearm. The FFL can. Which is, I waited almost a month just to see where they would unscrew it, and they didn't. And then he called after that, and then they unscrewed it then and said it was good to go. All right, let's see. Keep shrinking this and trying to blow it up to get it to the right size where it's easily readable. Page 3 further contains an optional section D, recertification by the purchaser, that is only completed if the firearms transfer takes place on a date different than the purchaser signed section B. So this would be like some of the waiting periods, I guess, where, like California, you've got 10 days. So you sign all the paperwork on the 1st of the month, and you have to fill this section out on basically the 11th of the month, the way their things go. Page 3 also includes section E, which must be completed by the FFL, contains block item 32 for use by licensee, blank optional field. They're just trying to make this as painful as they can. All right, first 3 numbers correspond to the state, region, basically getting into how they would find the number to track the sale. And then this is the part that this is a certification that has to be completed by the FFL. So this is, hey, we did all of our due diligence, did the background check. Then they've got to basically write everything out. By signing section E and completing questions 34 to 36, dealer or transfer certifies, in part, the fact that they have verified the identification of the purchaser, The remainder of pages 3 through 6 include notices, instructions, definitions, and similar information to be used for reference. All right. So this is where we should be getting into the actual so-called case against this guy. In December 2023, an industry operations officer in IOIS referred an investigative lead to the ATF Little Rock field office for further review. IOIS blank identified information to specific suspicious activity. In November 2023, Canada police officials received a photograph of firearms by a confidential informant. The firearms were not known to have been recovered. Some serial numbers were visible for the firearms, which were then submitted as an investigative trace request. Trace request was completed by the National Tracing Center. During a trace request, NTC attempts to identify original purchaser of the firearm. After the firearm leaves the manufacturer, through the trace, Bryan Malinowski, and I know I'm slaughtering his name, was showed to be the purchaser for multiple firearms. Now, this is a picture of firearms. Ended up sent to Canadian authorities. It's never stated that those firearms were in Canada. Apparently, those firearms were never found in Canada. This was just a picture of firearms that they could trace back to this guy being the original purchaser. So what? The report showed Malinowski purchased approximately 92 firearms from November 2021 to December 2023. Malinowski showed to be a resident of Little Rock, Arkansas, Eastern District of Arkansas. Many of the firearms located in multiple sales summary reports showed Malinowski was purchasing multiple of the same manufacturer and model of firearms. So, especially for handguns, if you're purchasing more than one, you just have to purchase two. There's a form that the FFL has to fill out for a multiple purchase, and they have to send that to the ATF, and ATF keeps that on file. This is still falling under the category of one, don't give a fuck, and two, there's no reason that the government should even be able to access this information about our own purchasing habits. And there are bills right now, federal bills, that would say any guns, any number of guns purchased in like a single month should have to be reported. So if I bought a pistol on a Tuesday, then went back 2 weeks later and then bought a rifle, then they want a multiple sale form being transmitted then. All right. So we already know he's more than likely in the business where he was just flipping firearms, or I won't say in the business. He had a hobby of basically making side money off of flipping firearms. Again, still don't care. None of this so far is a reason to kick this guy's door in at 6 o'clock in the morning and shoot him in the face. All right, all the firearms from the reports were purchased from a federal firearms licensee. So he was purchasing all of these guns from you'll see down in here, all of them were transferred to him through an FFL. He was buying from gun broker, having them shipped to his FFL. He was doing transfers from his FFL where they were running background checks, and then he was taking receipts of the firearms. This is not somebody out looking to commit the crime of the damn century. All right. Multiple sale forms reports purchase or firearms purchases by Malinowski are as follows: approximately 24 Glock Model 45 pistols, approximately 9 Fed Arms Model FR16 pistols, approximately 9 Beretta 92A pistols, approximately 7 North American Arms Model NA22 pistols, approximately 4 Glock Model 22 pistols, approximately 4 SAR Model SAR-9 pistols, approximately 3 ATI Model Omni pistols, approximately 3 Glock Model 19s, approximately 3 Glock Model 17s, approximately 3 Beretta 92 FSs. And this kind of, let me roll that back up. So this kind of points to where he was probably picking up single firearms at a time. Multiple different handguns were purchased, 2 of the same manufacturer and model firearms. All right. On December 15, 2023, your affiant reviewed the above information and opened an investigation into Malinowski. Malinowski address, driver's license showed. This is his address. On December 19, 2023, your affiant reviewed records at blank. The records included ATF Form 4473, so that was the FFL that he was getting his transfers done by. Provided records for all the firearms purchased by Malinowski from them, which totaled approximately 142 firearms from 2019 to December 19, 2023. Again, not the crime of the century. 142 firearms in 4 years or so, and this guy, selling them at gun shows. I don't care. This is fucking ridiculous, man. And a lot of this really does come from the change policies under the Biden administration, where they basically said anybody selling even a single firearm was in the business of selling firearms and needed an FFL. Yeah, Matt, he was buying off a gun broker, and it talks about it down here. I did read through the first couple pages. I haven't read through everything, but I did read through the first couple pages of it. Said an employee of blank stated Malinowski usually purchased firearms from gunbroker.com and had his firearms shipped to the name of the FFL, which was blacked out there. The employee stated typically the FSAAP AR style pistols, which Malinowski buys, come directly from the manufacturer. Before transferring to Malinowski, blank has Malinowski fill out a 4473. Malinowski is charged $25 fee. Employee provided information concerning current stock of firearms that were shipped to them and were awaiting transfer to Malinowski. 2 of the pending transfer firearms included invoices from Gunbroker. Both invoices showed the firearms. Billing was his address, where he was living at, the subject property, with his phone number, had his email on there. The Gunbroker buyer name on the account was, and then they got that blacked out. So again, this guy is doing everything legally. They just had the problem with him selling firearms on the side as his hobby, because that's what this all looks like. And they decided it was time to go kick in his door and shoot him in the face. Thank you, ATF. Apparently, the dude didn't have a dog, because we didn't hear about that yet. All right, a review of the recovered firearms from NTC, where Malinowski was listed as a purchaser, showed 3 firearms were recovered during the commission of a crime. Now listen to these crimes, because I did kind of skim through this, and I remember Jared from Guns and Gadgets going over it last night. And they black out the serial number and make of the pistol, but anyway, and this is the first instance out of the 3 that they're talking about. Blank pistol serial number purchased by Malinowski on August 4th, 2022. Firearm was recovered on May 12th, 2023. 128 days with the time to crime. So how many days was it purchased before it was found in a crime? All right. The firearm was recovered May 12th, 2023. 128 days time to crime. And what happened here is the PD in whatever town in Arkansas, I'll guarantee you, conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle where blank was in possession of this and another firearm and suspected marijuana. Also in the vehicle was another adult and a 4-year-old child. Again, someone who doesn't sound like they're out there committing the crime of the century. They had marijuana and they had guns. Nothing that they shot people with the guns, nothing that they robbed people with the guns, nothing they were, acting violently with the guns. They just had the guns and had weed. Again, falls into my category. Don't really give a fuck. All right. Blank pistol serial number purchased by Malinowski in August 11th of 2020. On August 11th of 2022, again, PD conducted a traffic stop where Blank was arrested for being in possession of suspected marijuana. During the arrest, this and another firearm were located in the vehicle. The firearm was recovered on February 30th, 2023, with 193 days timed crime. So again, someone else who bought a gun, person-to-person transfer, they were pulled over and had weed on them. They're trying to build this case that these were evil people. They had drugs and guns around a kid. If they weren't committing any violent acts, weren't acting recklessly, more than likely they got pulled over for either a simple traffic violation or they were dumb enough that their car smelled like weed. The cop smelled it and pulled them over. All right, so getting into the third instance. Blank pistol serial number was purchased by Malinowski on April 20th, 2022. PD conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle where a subject, hereafter referred to as W1, witness one, was located in. During the stop, this firearm and suspected marijuana was located near W1, was sitting inside of the vehicle. W1 showed to have been convicted of robbery in 2021. At the time, the firearm was originally purchased by Malinowski and recovered from W1. W1 was already prohibited from purchasing or possessing a firearm. The firearm was recovered on Blank with 15 days time to crime with W1. Here's how you could stop a lot of this, ATF. If you would let us private citizens, when we're making firearms transfers, run our own background checks. But no, you guys won't do that because it could be done in kind of a blind fashion where the information wasn't retained or anything like that. But getting back to this, there's nothing that said this guy was being violent with it. Nothing saying that that gun was actually used in a crime. The crime was simply having marijuana. And in this case, he was prohibited. I don't care. If he was safe enough to be on the street, I really don't care. So that was a 15-day time to crime. All right. So getting down to this. So on December 21st, 2023, ATF special agent viewed a photograph of Malinowski and recognized Malinowski from a separate, unrelated ATF investigation she was conducting. Special Agent Blank attended the GNS Promotions gun show in Conway, Arkansas on June 11th of 2023, where a special agent observed Malinowski appearing to be an unlicensed individual operating as a vendor at the show. There are plenty of people that are flipping their gun collection and flipping other guns so that they can buy different guns at gun shows. Again, not illegal. Yes. Yeah, Bob, this is his warrant that we're running through. And so far, all they've proved is that, and all they're going off of is this guy bought a lot of guns and sold a lot of guns. So what? Again, we get back to this guy. He looks like the most milquetoast person you've ever seen in your life. Has a job managing the Little Rock Airport. Very good job, very good pay, and apparently just like to flip guns. Not the criminal mastermind. So she says she recognized him from a photo selling it at the GNS gun show. The photographs of the sale she witnessed are below, and I know these are all grainy as hell. But apparently that's him receiving cash. Like I said, it's really hard to see because they're photocopies of pictures. By the looks of some of this, he could have been selling dildos. It wouldn't have freaking mattered. All right, let's see. Let's get back. So on December 27th, 2023, your affiant conducted a records interview with W1. So W1 was one of the guys who was caught with one of the handguns that was tracked back to this dude. Where W1 provided a statement in summary. The firearm W1 was arrested with by blank PD, blank pistol, serial number, blah, 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 was purchased by, and I like how they blank this out, was purchased by blank from a seller at the gun show in April or May of 2022. The Arkansas State Fairgrounds in Little Rock, Arkansas. So this gun that he was caught with was actually purchased by someone else, or one of the guns was actually purchased by someone else at another gun show. That's how these two kind of got together. All right. W1 was shown a photograph lineup of Malinowski and 5 other similar appearing individuals. W1 positively identified Malinowski by his Arkansas driver's license photo. W1 went to Malinowski's booth at the gun show because this friend of his, they got him blanked out, probably W2, as creative as the government is, saw Malinowski working alone make a sale to another unidentified subject without asking for paperwork. It's a private transfer. Those are completely legal in the state of Arkansas. Douchebag. He doesn't have to ask for it. At the gun show, Malinowski had a single table with approximately 12 to 13 firearms on the table. Again, all just hobby on the side kind of stuff. Malinowski had older guns, handguns, and some new rifles. W1 asked Malinowski if he did any paperwork, documented identifying information of the buyer, or documenting the sale. Malinowski said no, so W1 began buying firearms from him. On this date at the gun show, W1 only bought the blank pistol from Malinowski, probably a Glock. Considering what looks like this dude was buying a fucking ton of Glocks. Through text messaging, starting from after the gun show to approximately June of 2023, W1 and Malinowski exchanged numerous text messages about purchasing additional firearms. No shit. If I know someone who's, selling firearms, private sales, and I know that they kind of keep a stock of them, I'm probably going to stay in touch with them. W1 would primarily reach out to Malinowski, but sometimes Malinowski will reach out to W1 about new firearms Malinowski had for sale. If there was a firearm Malinowski did not have in his inventory, he would try to get the firearm to sell to W1. So that sounds like a case of, yeah, man, hey, do you have this type of gun? Do you have this Glock 43X? No, I don't have any, right now for sale, but, if I run across one, man, I'll hit you up and let you know. Again, that's not, hey, I'm going to go commit a bunch of robberies and I'm looking for this type of gun. Can you go ahead and get me one so I can go ahead and commit these crimes? No. Malinowski offered to sell firearms to W1's friends, but W1 never referred anyone to Malinowski for buying firearms. W1 made a total of 3 firearms purchases from Malinowski between approximately blank 2022 and blank 2023. Why would they even block those out unless they're just trying to skew the information? They threw all the dates up top. Why not throw the ones down there? Because it could have been January of 2022 to December 2023 or something like that, which is not a long time period to purchase 3 firearms. Malinowski was willing to meet W1 anywhere in a public place. So they conducted 2 purchases. 2 purchases, a business partner. They didn't proofread that. That should have been probably in a business parking lot in Little Rock, Arkansas. The only identifying question Malinowski asked W1 was if W1 was over 18 years old. Sounds like a perfectly reasonable question. Hey, are you over 18? Yeah. Okay. Again, legal firearms, person-to-person sales. W1 made from Malinowski are described below. So 2022, W1 purchased a blank pistol at a gun show. That was the one that they referenced above. W1 paid $700 for the firearm. Malinowski provided the original box with the firearm during the purchase. Now, why are they driving home? Hey, he gave them the original box. Because they're trying to build the case that this guy was, he was in the business of selling firearms. He was just wholesaling shit. This is an evil guy. That's why they're going into that. Okay. In February 2023, W1 purchased a Glock model Gen 17 or Model 17 Gen 4 pistol at a business parking lot. W1 paid $725 cash for the firearm. Malinowski provided the original box with the firearm during the purchase. This was the firearm W1 was arrested with by Blank Police Department, more than likely Little Rock Police Department. W1 only had this firearm for approximately 2 days prior to being arrested. Present with Malinowski during this transaction was a female described as Malinowski's wife. Again, all this is pointing to a dude who is just flipping guns as a hobby. None of this is saying crime of the century. We need to kick this dude's door in at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning with guns drawn, with armed agents, and get ourselves into a gunfight. Yeah, could be a Clinton. Who knows? Goon, what's up, my brother? So in June 2023, W1 purchased a Ruger Model LCP 380 handgun from Malinowski by himself at the time in the same business parking lot in Little Rock, Arkansas for $120. The firearm did not come with a box. W1 threw the firearm away because he didn't want the firearm. Firearm was never recovered. More than likely, W1 sold that gun to somebody else. He flipped it. Still, I'm not seeing crime of the century. I'm not seeing kick this son bitch's door in. All right, your affiant obtained the blank report concerning W1's arrest. The report detailed W1 was pulled over during a traffic stop in which the blank, which was the Glock 17 up there, pistol with serial number was recovered. The firearm was not able to be located in previous trace through the NTC due to not routinely submitting trace requests. Your affiant submitted a trace request through NTC, which was the original purchaser, which returned the original purchaser in June of 2017 to be someone blank in Illinois. Your affiant contacted that person via telephone who stated he did own the firearm, but sold the firearm to blank in possibly 2019. So his firearm's already changed hands 2 times. Your affiant contacted blank, who provided an invoice where they sold the firearm in June 16, 2022, online through Gunbroker. So this was a Gunbroker purchase. The invoice showed the firearm was shipped to Malinowski with a phone number. The firearm sold for approximately $468.51. And if this is the same gun, if I'm reading it right, he flipped it for $700 and some change. Not a bad flip. ATF form 4473 for this firearm showed the firearm was transferred to Malinowski on June 23rd of 2022. On January 2nd, 2024, your affiant made contact with W1's mother, who signed a consent form. That was dirty. More than likely, this guy was 18. And instead of him signing the consent form, they got his mom to sign the consent form for the guy's phone. Your affiant, let's see, affiant to view W1's phone. In the phone, your affiant located Bryan with contact number, which traces back to his cell phone number. Affiant took photographs of the text threads, which is summarized below. On Saturday, February 4th, 2023, starting at 2:27 p.m., W1 sent a message to Bryan introducing blank and referencing getting Bryan's number during a December gun show. There's not another message till Monday, February 13th. So from February 4th to February 13th, nothing was talked about. So February 13th, starting at 5:05, W1 and Malinowski began exchanging messages, negotiating for the sale of multiple firearms Malinowski had for sale. Malinowski sends a list of 6 firearms, 3 Glocks, 3 AR-style guns, which includes AR-style 223 5.56 caliber pistol for $750, depending on the make, not a bad price. W1 and Malinowski agreed to sale of a firearm and coordinated a meeting at a business parking lot in Little Rock, Arkansas. A month later, W1 reaches back to Malinowski for more firearms. Malinowski offers several firearms for sale, which included a Glock Model 17 for $725. Doesn't say there was a sale after that. Months later, W1 reaches out to Malinowski about additional firearms, and Malinowski replies with multiple photographs of multiple firearms for sale. W1 and Malinowski agree to exchange a Glock Model 19 for $700. There are several text messages that follow indicating they met for the transaction. So that was what was that the second? That was the third gun. Or was that the second? Shit, I can't remember. Months later, W1 reached out to Malinowski again for new firearms for sale, and Malinowski replied with a list of multiple firearms to sell and prices for each. On January 11, 2024, Affiant noticed that a firearm previously purchased by Malinowski, blank pistol, serial number, was recovered, again by PD, but this was in California. So he made a person-to-person sale, then that firearm was probably sold again. Not something out of the damn ordinary, especially not going to California in a person-to-person sale, especially with their handgun roster. Affiant obtained the blank PD report, which detailed January 5th, 2024, officers were patrolling near a known park area frequented by the Norteño Crime Street gang members and associates. Additionally, a shooting and robbery had taken place the previous night in the area. So what? Can you trace that gun back to Malinowski? PD officers came across a 15-year-old juvenile Hispanic male. PD officers made contact with the juvenile, who fled and was subsequently arrested while being in possession of a stolen pistol with serial number. According to PD, the juvenile is documented Norteño gang member. ATF Form 4473 showed Malinowski was transferred the firearm on May 1st, 2022. So get this, just by that. So Malinowski had possession of the firearm, said it was transferred to him May 1st, 2022. This happened in 2024. So Malinowski sold the firearm. It says it was reported stolen, and then it was found on a gang member. Go fucking figure. Yeah, well, you probably are right there, chessboard. The ATF always needs more guns to send to criminals. But anyway, so they bust this kid with a stolen gun, a gun that was reported stolen. They track the original purchaser back to Malinowski. So what? That could be done to anybody. Malinowski was operating as a vendor with approximately 2 to 3 tables by himself. The tables Malinowski was operating had a rack with AR-style pistols, 2 containers with various pistols, and several boxes of various types of ammunition. Underneath the table were recognizable gun boxes and other firearms not on display. again, he's at a gun show selling his private property. You list this stuff up here that happened in January 27 of 2024, where a gang member was found with a stolen firearm that traced back to this dude, because you're trying to make this dude look like a fucking shithead, even though all he was doing was selling his own legally owned property. All right. The first undercover agent approached Malinowski, who began describing various firearms he had on display. These firearms included pistols manufactured by Glock, Sky, and Beretta. Malinowski further described the AR-style pistols as not considered rifles because they did not have an arm brace on them. So it's just a standard AR pistol. And they mentioned that, I swear to God, because they're trying to make it sound like he was slinging SBRs illegally. Malinowski stated he sells at gun shows in Brenton, Arkansas, Conway, Arkansas, and the Music Hall in Memphis, Tennessee, which he can do that legally if he's selling long guns. Malinowski stated he sells out of AR pistols like the ones he had on display very quickly at the Memphis gun show. What's your point? Malinowski stated he was a private seller, therefore no paperwork was needed to be filed for a purchase. That is very true. Malinowski stated the customer just had to be over 21. Malinowski stated that he receives payment via cash, PayPal, or Zilla. Again, not a dude trying to commit the crime of the century. Malinowski agreed to sell the first undercover agent 2 firearms. FSAAP model FR16. I have to look that up. Multi-caliber pistol, serial number, Hey, they didn't cover the serial number on that one. With 1 magazine and a carrying sleeve for $725, and 2 Glock Model 30 .45 caliber pistol, serial number. They are not very good at redacting information. With 2 magazines and original gun box for $575. Total purchase for both of these were $1,300. Malinowski stated several times the FSAAP pistol was new. During the sale, Malinowski pulled out another FSAAP pistol from a wrapper. Malinowski stated this firearm was brand new and available for sale as well. So again, all this dude's doing is flipping guns, and he is not trying to do this out of the trunk of his car in the shadiest area of town. Fucking Christ. Malinowski agreed to sell a second undercover agent a Sky pistol. That was just dirty. Model CPX 2 9mm pistol with serial number blah 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 for $325. That is really high for a Sky. Maybe that's why he got shot in the face. That ATF agent figured out how shitty that gun was. This is the coverage you don't get from Guns and Gadgets, baby. All right, let's see. Malinowski stated the Brenton Gun Show the following weekend is the next gun show he'll be selling at. Malinowski provided his phone number to both undercover agents who purchased firearms from him as blank. Malinowski stated he could be contacted outside of a gun show for any purchases. When the second undercover agent told Malinowski he had family and friends who might be interested in purchasing firearms, Malinowski replied, okay, and made the comment, cash, no paper. During the sale, Malinowski pulled out an Apple iPhone smartphone to research information concerning a firearm. Why does that? That right there, they're probably making the link that he was doing this illegal business and using his iPhone. So they had to get his iPhone. That's more than likely where that's going. All right. On January 30th, 2024, Affiant received Verizon toll records for a number, probably his. The records showed the account to be active since 2019. records show there has only been 2 devices linked to blank, the account. An iPhone SE Space Gray 128 gigabyte with international mobile equipment identifier, yada, 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 and international mobile subscriber identity. So they're just building the case to where they can get his electronic devices, basically. An iPhone SE 20, 256 gigabyte black with, and they go through the identifying information. IMSI numbers are unique to each cellular signal to identify the signal on a cellular network. Verizon showed subscriber information for the account to be held by Comcast. Again, they're just building the information where they're saying he was doing this illegal business on his electronic devices, and we need these electronic devices. So you're full of shit because this guy hadn't done anything illegal yet. On January 31st, 2024, blank reviewed ATF Form 4473 at blank, which is the FFL, for the 3 firearms purchased by Malinowski at the gun show on January 27th, 2024. The FSAP pistol or model FR16 was transferred to Malinowski the day prior on January 26th. The Glock Model 30 was transferred to Malinowski on December 6, 2023, approximately 52 days prior. An invoice for the Glock Model 30 was attached showing the firearm was purchased from gun broker for approximately $379 after taxes and fees. The Sky model was transferred to Malinowski on December 13, 2023, approximately 45 days prior to Malinowski selling the firearm to the ATF agent. An invoice for the Sky model CPX2 was attached showing the firearm was purchased from blank. The invoice showed the Sky Model 2 firearms for $299 combined. So again, he's just flipping guns. He's buying them for cheap and he's selling them. And then he buys more guns and he sells more guns. This dude is just flipping guns. There's nothing illegal there. And it's not his main business. He's not making that much money off of this compared to the actual line of work he's in, managing the airport. But yeah, you are right about that. They got Al Capone for not paying taxes. Fucking ridiculous. All right, let's see. So on February 5th, 2024, the affidavit received information that blank pistol with blank had been run in somewhere in California by a member of the blank narcotics gang enforcement task force. You had me hooked on taxes for a second. The affidavit obtained a report which detailed on August 2nd, 2022, search warrant was conducted on the residence, a vehicle, and blank in furtherance of an investigation. Through the search warrant, the blank pistol serial number was recovered. Additionally, 6 bottles of Furamin allorazepam, which is a benzo, so it's a depressant, 780.1 grams gross weight of marijuana, another 206.1 grams gross weight of marijuana, digital scale, unused clear Ziploc bags in the vehicle, had an additional 5,860 in U.S. currency on his person. At the residence search, where blank came out of an additional over 3,500 grams gross weight of marijuana. Another firearm was located. Reviewing ATF Form 4473, the purchase of the blank pistol serial number was back to Malinowski, was transferred the firearm on May 4th, 2022. So he bought the gun. The gun was transferred to him in 2022. And when did this? Let me slide back up here. And this happened in 2024. So roughly 2 years. hold on, either their numbers are screwy or something, because this is saying it was less than 3 months. But either way, Malinowski had sold the gun to someone else, and then it ended up in California. Okay. On February 8th, 2024, at approximately 11:40 a.m., Malinowski arrived at blank ATF. Special agent observed Malinowski walking out of blank the FFL holding a black box. Malinowski was observed opening the rear driver's side door of subject vehicle, the 2022 Toyota, and putting the black box inside the vehicle. Malinowski was observed getting into the driver's seat and pull out of the parking lot. Traveling in an eastern direction on blank, several ATF special agents attempted to follow Malinowski. While following Malinowski, he committed the traffic violation of running multiple red lights. Oh man, we got a kingpin here. So the guy was rushing to get to work. Malinowski entered Interstate 40 eastbound, simultaneously crossed 2 lanes of traffic. Oh my God, this guy is a danger to society, kids. Continued on Interstate 40 eastbound. When approaching the intersection, Interstate 40 and Highway 67 and 167, the Malinowski again simultaneously merged across 2 lanes of traffic to travel northbound on Highway 67 167. He abruptly merged on the Highway 67 167 while crossing the neutral area of the on-ramp onto McCain Boulevard exit ramp. ATF special agent lost sight of Malinowski due to his reckless driving and special agent inability to keep up with Malinowski without risking danger and safety to other motorists. So what you're saying is this guy's a bad driver. Oh, he so deserves to be shot in the face. He's jumping lanes, kids, pulling into neutral zones. He had it a coming. Okay. The area near where ATF special agents lost sight of Malinowski is a high traffic area with lots of commercial businesses ranging from retail, restaurants, department stores, and self-storage facilities. At approximately 2:33 p.m., ATF special agents observed the subject vehicle, parked in the director's parking space at Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport, where he works. That seems so sinister. The name of the Clintons sounds more sinister than this guy's fucking driving, but okay. This parking spot was located in a secure parking lot with access granted through a locked access gate. The parking lot has signs labeling the area for authorized personnel only. Your affiant and other special agents do not have vehicular access to the parking lot, making personnel observations difficult. At approximately 5:10, ATF special agent observed Malinowski pull out and leave the airport. Malinowski drove straight to the subject property, so he drove home. He don't mention anything about his driving on the way home. Sounds like he was rushing to get back to work from the gun store. Driving a little bit like a shithead, but I really don't give a shit about that either. He ain't running me off the road. And then he went to work and then he drove home. All right. Your affiant checked Arkansas license plate, so they throw the license plate of his car up there. 2022 Toyota Highlander, bearing VIN number. Vehicle registered owner showed to be Clinton National Airport Road, Arkansas. So this is a company car he's driving. The Highlander looks like it was registered to the airport. So this is a perk. Hey, you get a company car. The blank from the area where ATF special agent attempted following Malinowski on February 8, 2024, showed blank on McCain Boulevard and further east on Highway 161 near Bethany Road. The subject vehicle appears to be in the area of McCain Boulevard near Landers Road and Highway 161 near Bethany Road on multiple occasions. All right, your affiant reviewed previous purchases of firearms at this FFL January 5th, 2024, January 17th, 2024. The subject vehicle had a similar pattern in the same areas on February 8th, 2024. So what they're doing is they're saying we need to be able to search this guy's vehicle because he is using it in the commission of buying legal firearms. Oh, good God, man. Our government. Yeah, he suicided himself in the commission of a no-knock raid. That's getting to be what it sounds like. On January 27, 2024, the date the undercover purchased from Malinowski from the Conway Gun Show, the subject vehicle was traveling through Little Rock and North Little Rock, Arkansas, between the times of January 22nd or 27, 2024, at approximately 9:53 p.m. to January 8th, 2024, approximately 12:16. Subject vehicle was in North Little Rock, and again in North Little Rock. The areas which the subject vehicle is located in Little Rock is an area known to the affiant. Based on the affiant's background, training, experience as a law enforcement officer, Little Rock areas are known for violent crime and buying and selling contraband such as firearms, controlled substances, specifically during the evening and midnight hours. Oh, fucking Christ. If you could prove that this dude was knowingly selling guns to convicted felons, you might have a case. This dude traveling through these areas, and let's face it, all of Little Rock is one big fucking crime area. Little Rock has become an absolute fucking shithole. It's been a while since I've been through there, but I have been through the heart of town, and it's sketchy. On February 15, 2024, Blank obtained a tracking device search warrant for the subject vehicle. On February 20th, 2024, the tracking vehicle was successfully installed on subject vehicle. They make tracking device. I keep saying tracking vehicle or vehicle tracker or something like that. On February 21st, 2024, Malinowski purchased 3 additional firearms from Blank, 2 more pistols and a blank pistol. Special agents surveilled Malinowski from Blank at approximately 3:30 p.m. until he arrived back at his residence at 5:44 p.m. During the approximate 2-hour span, Malinowski drove in a circular pattern in the area of AR 161, North Little Rock, Martin Luther King, Roosevelt Road. Malinowski's driving was erratic, often pulling into parking lots and turning around in parking lots to the same direction he was already traveling. Other than stopping for several minutes at a Sonic, he ought to be shot in the face for that. Malinowski was not observed making any extended stops where he was observed meeting any individuals getting in and out of his vehicle. Malinowski was observed by SA on several other occasions, driving in erratic circular patterns around the neighborhood for multiple hours, similar to the pattern observed on February 21st, 2024. Hold on. You ever figure the dude just like cranking up his radio and driving? Stressful day. Okay. These dates included February 26th, February 27th, same day purchase blank pistol serial number, and February 28th, 2024. But you still can't show him stopping and selling any of the guns. You show him driving around in circles and driving what you call erratically, which, Jesus Christ, anybody could call the way I drive erratically. I'm sorry. Is it just me, or does no one else in here that's been looking at this stuff see any reason to come in, break in this guy's house, and shoot him in the face? DB Cooper, what's up, my brother? All right, let's see. On February 23rd, 2024, gunbroker.com provided records via blank subpoena concerning user B Malin 123, the username from previous gunbroker.com purchases by Malinowski that were sent to, of course, his FFL. The record showed numerous transactions made by Malinowski on Gunbroker. The records additionally showed user blank was registered with an email address, date of birth of, home phone number, and subject property with the first and last name of Bryan Malinowski. There were no other identifiers on the account or changes of those identifiers since March 6, 2020. So what you're telling me is this guy had stable job, stable home, stable email, stable phone, stable vehicle. He just likes selling guns. So it's a real reason to come in and shoot somebody in the face. No, they could have walked into this dude's work at any time and just told him, hey, sir, you need to come with us. We have questions. They could have, even though he was driving erratically, they could have pulled him over. When he was sitting in the Sonic parking lot, they could have pulled in on him there. Fuck these people, man. We don't like the fact that you're selling your own personal property, so therefore we get to kick your door in and shoot you in the face. That is our government. That is our government status officers. That is the ATF. They're making this dude out to be like he's committed the crime of the century. You can't show that he's done even the first violent act. Unless you count him just driving like a whatever. Dude, I think he just liked flipping guns. It's no different than someone who likes flipping cars, someone who likes flipping furniture. He just did it with guns. And the guns that they're looking at in crimes was either someone getting caught with weed and a gun, again, things I don't give a shit about, or they mentioned that an Norteño gang member where they tracked the gun, said it was stolen, and then they could show that Malinowski was the original purchaser, which means Malinowski purchased the gun, sold the gun. It was stolen from the person he sold it to, and then made it up on a gang member because, gee, guess what? Gang members tend to buy stolen guns. All right, on March 2nd, 2024, Malinowski was observed by a special agent operating a table as a vendor at G&S Productions gun show located at blah, blah, blah. As they observed, Malinowski with several handguns for sale, including the blank pistol with serial number, yada, yada. Malinowski had previously purchased approximately 4 days prior on February 7th, 2024. Why couldn't you arrest him at the gun show then? You could have got a warrant for his house. You could have walked over there, arrested him peacefully at the gun show, got all the warrants, searched his house, whole 9 yards. Why kick in his door at 6 o'clock in the morning? The tracking device showed the subject vehicle at the gun show on all 3 days of the gun show. No shit, you saw him there. Tracking device showed the subject vehicle returned to subject property all 3 days before and after being at the gun show. So he went home every night. Fuck me running. Yeah, Barton, I didn't hear him mention anything about the black and white striped mask, the shirt. He didn't look like the Hamburglar. To date, Malinowski has purchased over 150 known firearms between May 2021 and February 27, 2024. On each ATF 4473 filled out for the purchase of the firearms, Malinowski has the subject of property and the phone number listed. On each invoice recovered for firearms purchase, Malinowski has subject property and phone number listed. As of February 27, 2024, approximately 6 firearms are known to have been recovered in the commission of a crime, with another 3 recovered through undercover purchases by ATF. Now remember, guns that showed up in California were reported stolen and then transferred in crime. 3 of the guns were simply someone in Little Rock who had a gun and then had weed on them. No, these definitely are. They're trying to make this guy out to be this big firearms trafficker when all he's doing is he's having fun. He's transferring or selling firearms, has a collection, buys guns, sells guns. There's nothing with this guy that says he is some criminal mastermind. Because you got to understand, in a warrant like this, they are going to do everything they can to make this guy seem as horrible as possible so that the judge will agree to the warrant. So they tend to blow the lines out on all that. That's why when they mentioned the guns showing up in crimes, they didn't list that they were either simple possession crimes or that the guns were stolen and then showed up in crime. Then the 3 of the guns that they recovered were purchased by ATF agents. They could have busted them at that time. For each ATF Form 4473, for all recovered firearms sold by Malinowski, Malinowski indicates he is the actual purchaser of the firearm and that the firearms were intended for him. They are. He is the purchaser. He pays the money, he gets the gun. Then he decides, hey, I'm going to flip this gun, make a little bit of money off of it, then I can buy more guns and I can flip more guns. Again, nothing outside the realm of someone just having a hobby. You could have picked him up at any of the gun shows he was at. You knew exactly where he was at. You knew exactly where he was going to be. All right. All right, where were we at? Malinowski indicated he was the actual purchaser of the firearms and that the firearms were intended for him. Again, I will argue that they were. Each observation of Malinowski, he has been driving the subject vehicle when operating as a vendor at a gun show and when he purchased the firearms. What's your point? It was a company vehicle, a company perk that he was driving as his personal vehicle. So what? It has been your affiant's experience during my blank in law enforcement as ATF special agent that persons who possess firearms engaging in the business of dealing in firearms without a license and or store firearms in their residence vehicles and frequently keep firearms on their person. Yeah. Unlike many other types of items, these individuals frequently maintain firearms in their personal collections for long periods of time, frequently for many years, and often have an emotional attachment to the ownership and possession of firearms. Whether or not this guy had an emotional attachment to firearms, so what? Their firearms are usually kept secure because their value to to the possessor. About the only that kind of gets back up to them tracking his vehicle, seeing him putting something in the back seat, go to work in a locked lot, and maybe didn't remove the firearm to bring it into the building because they probably don't want firearms brought into the fucking airport. but it's in a locked vehicle and a locked lot that you assholes couldn't even get into. Firearms use kept secure. Okay. Also, in your affiant's experience, firearms owners also maintain certain documents and records pertaining to firearms acquisitions and dispositions, such as owners' manuals, receipts, other documents of ownership and firearms in their homes, vehicles for safekeeping, even if they are attempting to circumvent federal firearms laws. Uh, man, oh, these people are fucking idiots. These documents and records, as well as supporting documents relating to the purchases, sales, and inventories, such as receipts, invoices, photographs, are frequently retained. I'm going to learn to talk again, even if they are evidence of violations of federal laws, which is. Your people out there looking to actually violate federal laws are not keeping records. They're doing it as shady as possible. It's going to be cash only. There's not going to be any electronic transfers. They're not going to fill out 4473s. Oh, man. Yeah, bionomics are hitting my vocal cords. Yeah. And apparently my ability to read and rationalize shit. Further, your affiant's training and experience, persons who engage in the business of dealing firearms without a license often form information networks to buy and trade for firearms they cannot acquire from reputable or legitimate firearms dealers. But he got all of his firearms through either gun broker, sent to an FFL, had background checks done. Evidence of an unlawful firearms transaction is often preserved on computers, email accounts, sent deleted emails, address books, contact lists, and attachments to emails, including pictures and files. These individuals often maintain photographs and detailed descriptions of weapons they have sold or traded. Based on your affiant's prior experience with seizure of computers, to include cellular telephones, in order to properly retrieve and analyze electronic data to the document and authenticate such data to prevent the loss of data. So this is the court trying to justify all this shit. Requires seizure, electronically stored data. So this is getting into the court's justification for affirming the warrant, basically, is what that reads. Based on foregoing information, your affirmant believes that concealed within the subject property, to include residence safes blank located at subject vehicle, which are further described in attachments 1 and 2, are items that constitute evidence, fruits, instruments, and things otherwise criminally possessed in violation of Title 18 USC 922. And those are the code sections they listed at the top of the warrant, which basically are absolute horse shit. Let's just be real about that. The affiant further believes that a search of the subject property, subject vehicle will result in discovery of items that constitute evidence, fruits, instruments of these violations, specifically the items listed in attachment B. Your affiant request for sealing. I don't even remember Jared hitting this last night. Your affiant further requests that the court order and all papers in support of this application, including the affiant search warrant, be sealed until further order of the court. These documents discuss an ongoing criminal investigation that is neither public nor known to all the targets of the investigation. Accordingly, there is good cause to seal these documents because their premature disclosure may give targets an approximate or an opportunity to flee, continue flight from prosecution, destroy or tamper with evidence, change patterns of behavior, notify Confederates, or otherwise seriously jeopardize the investigation. which I'm pretty sure is normal with a lot of warrants like this. And this was all issued over a telephone. Issued by telephone pursuant to Rule 4, Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. Subscribed and sworn before me on this 6th day of March 2024, the Honorable Joel Volpe, United States Magistrate Judge, Eastern District of Arkansas. And this is where they're getting into description of things to be searched. So his property, the 2 phones, and then they just list other cellular and electronic devices. So his computer, search histories, all that. Subject property, further described as a split-level residence, light-colored stucco-type siding, upper portion of the residence, and rock finish on the lower portion. Property has rock finish mailbox, curb line driveway, number written black and white. Driveway runs along the southeastern side of the residence, the garage. So this is a very, very nice home this guy's living in. Warrant authorizes for forensic examination of phones for the purposes of identifying. Then they get into his Highlander, other cellular and electronic devices in the subject vehicle. Warrant authorizes vehicle search as well as forensic examination of phone, purpose of identifying stored information. Information to be seized. So they get into all firearms, parts, accessories, electronic devices, all of his browsing history, all of his telephonic, text, and electronic email messages. Basically, any of his payment accounts for firearms. So any of his PayPal, Zillow, you name it, Zilla, whatever it is. They want all of his bank records, correspondence, notification logs, receipts, journals, records, noting the price, quantity, and times, farms. I love this. So correspondence, notifications, logs, receipts, journals, books, records, and other documents noting the price, quantity, and or times when firearms or controlled substances were obtained and or sold. And that's a standard paragraph. I'm sure this guy didn't have anything as far as controlled substances. They would have mentioned that way up in the damn warrant for that. Any of his address books, records reflecting purchases of real estate. So basically, they would go in, and they probably will, during this case, and find that he was making money illegally. So they will confiscate his bank accounts. Any kind of property he purchased during the time where this was going on, there'll be a bunch of civil asset forfeiture, just absolute horse shit. They'll probably, I mean, they've already killed the woman's husband. Let's be honest about that. So now they'll probably just leave her destitute. Hopefully she is able to sue the shit out of these people and becomes a billionaire. That probably won't happen. They're probably trying to charge her. That's probably one of the reasons they mentioned that she was at one of the sales. They'll charge her with shit too. Phone books, photographs, usernames. All of his GPS data off his cell phones. Of course, they're going to get that. As used above, the terms records and information include all the foregoing items of evidence in whatever form, by whatever means they may have been created or stored, including any form of paper, computer, electronic storage, such as flash memory, SIM cards, other media that can store data in any photographic form. And this is getting back into basically all the approvals for the warrant. You're commanded to execute this warrant on or before March 20th, not to exceed 14 days. In the daytime, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Unless delayed notice is authorized below, you must give a copy of the warrant to the recipient property. So they would have had to give him receipts for anything they got from him. Premise property taken, leave a copy. Officer executing this warrant or any officer present during the execution of this warrant must prepare an inventory as required by law, promptly return the warrant and inventory to the judge himself. And this box isn't checked. Pursuant to listed U.S. set delay a trial. And this would have been the inventory sheet they would have used. This is the judge swearing that all the stuff that he's seen in the warrant is described above. So the warrant was issued on the 6th. They waited till about the last day to actually perform the... This is the motion of the court to seal the warrant. Recognized United States Court of Appeals, 8th Circuit. I'm just skimming through this to see whether there's anything else to really... The United States Supreme Court has recognized that the government has an important interest in maintaining the anonymity of persons providing information concerning criminal activity to law enforcement. And as McCary versus Illinois, they cited consequently persons who act as mere tipsters and who provide information in support of finding of probable cause for the issuance of the search warrant and arrest do not have to be disclosed, even within the context of the formal criminal trial. Disclosure of contents of search warrant affidavit will identify potential government witnesses. So this is all about who they can redact from stuff. Stated above, the investigation is in its pre-indictment stages. No indictments have been returned. No charges have been filed against any person. So, yeah. So this is all going off of allegations. He was not charged with anything yet. No indictments are made, which I understand that they do these to collect evidence to get these charges. But still, at the time when they go to kick this dude's door in, they don't even have their case. Turn effecting, proceed, leave copy of the warrant, inventory location. Yeah. The disclosure of contents of search warrant papers could damage the reputation and careers of people implicated in criminal conduct and could possibly even damage the character and reputations of innocent third parties prior to the institution of any formal charges. Yeah, like, I don't know, shooting a dude in the face isn't bad enough. I'm honestly surprised they let this warrant out this quick. Okay, where no indictments have been issued against persons allegedly involved in criminal activity, there's a clear suggestion that, whatever the truth, the government cannot prove these allegations. The court of public opinion is not the place to seek to prove them. If the government has such proof, it should be submitted to a grand jury, an institution developed to protect all citizens from unfounded charges. All citizens, whether they real or imagined past history, are entitled to the protection of the grand jury proceeding. General 22. Some text pop. Hey, give me a second. I gotta find one of my cables real quick. Hold on, I might have them here. And then we'll read General Order 22 because I'm not familiar with that. And again, we've read through this whole freaking affidavit, this whole warrant, and I still can't see a reason to kick this guy's door in and shoot him in the face. Yeah, grand jury protection, yeah. Yeah, Chess, if you can't blind them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. And that's what a lot of this is. General Order 22 requires that the government address why less restrictive means to sealing all search warrant documents are not available. Less restrictive means include redaction of names, personally identifying information, line by line, Okay, which is basically what we got. Was kind of it's unsealed, but a lot of redacted information. And this is just all the damn legal wrangling. So wherefore, and it goes and all the other stuff. So wherefore, the above mentioned reasons, the United States respectfully requests the court enter an order which seals the motion pending further order of the court. So there had to be an order, unless this just leaked out another way. There had to be a court order that actually released this. Respectfully submitted, Jonathan D. Ross, United States Attorney. Yeah, fuck this dude. Kristen H. Bryant, AR bar number. That's her Arkansas bar number. Let's file a motion to seal the search warrant. And then that's where the judge signs off to actually seal the warrant. So, anyway, so that's the entire search warrant. Crime of the century. Was enough, bad enough dude to kick in his door and get into a gunfight at 6 o'clock in the morning on what, a Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday? No, Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. So it's hard to keep track of all this stuff, man. We bounce through so much stuff on this channel. But yeah, this is the crime of the century, guys. He sold 100 and something guns. Was at gun shows, sold some just privately, outside of gun shows. Otherwise, a pillar of the community. He's only been doing this for a couple of years, since 2019, apparently. Got into a hobby and got shot in the face over his hobby. I still haven't run into anything in there that says, hey, this guy deserves to be shot in the face. Guns that they mentioned that were in crimes was either simple possession charges or guns that were stolen and then sold on the black market to other people that then had guns. Yeah, too many choices. That's exactly it. Over the course of 4 years, 5 years, he sold 150 guns or so that they can track down. They call this guy an illegal firearms dealer and decided to kick in his door at 6 o'clock in the morning and, yes, shoot him in the face. Because, again, getting back to, if you kick my door in at 6 o'clock in the morning, I don't give a shit whether you're yelling cops, police, ATF, whatever. I'm going to be prepared to defend myself, because any criminal, any street criminal can yell police when they're trying to kick my damn door in. And they had enough other places, much like a lot of other ATF bullshit, they had every other chance to pick this dude up in a peaceful way. I mean, they're at the gun show with him, talking to him, purchasing guns from him. They couldn't have just sat the gun down and went, all right, boss, we're going to handcuff you right now. You're going to come with us. You got some splaining to do. Let's go through this. And couldn't have let the dude lawyer up and then go through the process. No. We got to kick in this door. We got to do this 6 o'clock in the morning raid. Oh, man. I don't see them kicking in gangsters' doors in fucking Baltimore doing this shit when they have them on video with machine guns. Oh, too many choices, man. They got to prove they're the biggest swinging dick, man. And that's what it comes down to. They got to prove they're the government and they have the monopoly on force. No different than any number of different raids we've seen go on. Them freaking raiding the dudes with the super safety. It's a legal business until you said it was illegal. Why couldn't you just walk in there in the middle of the afternoon and be like, all right, boys, here's the deal? Because twin bros, and again, don't sound like the criminal masterminds to me, and don't sound like the kind of guys that are just going to come out blasting. And it's a fed goon squad. And a lot of this, with this stuff, with this raid, comes out of Biden taking the ATF off their leash and saying, if you're selling a single firearm and you make a profit, or you even come near making a profit, you're illegally selling firearms at this point. So any of these guys out here that had personal collections that are trading guns, flipping guns, so that they can buy more guns, which sounds like what this guy was doing so he could sell more guns. Well, no. You're in the business of firearms now. You're an unlicensed dealer, and we have the right to shoot you in the face, throw you in prison, ruin your life. Oh, yeah, Chess. No doubt. Yeah, Biden's zero tolerance policy. And yeah, Lightning, you're right. Make another example. That's what this comes down to. Make another example. Put that boot a little further on people's necks. Let's make another example. And it's absolutely sickening to anybody with half a fucking brain. Now, if you're some anti-gun douchebag out there doing the damn Snoopy dance because this dude got shot in the face, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Because this shit ain't right. Gizzard, what's up, my brother? So anyway, that's the entire read on that warrant. Guns and Gadgets, if you want a smoother breakdown of it with someone from law enforcement, Guns and Gadgets did his video last night. He'll be the one to look for if you want that. If you like the breakdown with profanity and someone actually getting pissed off about this shit, well, I'm your guy. Oh, no doubt, Bob. The whole Waco thing. If they just wanted David Koresh and he was such a bad man, which I don't believe the dude was any kind of good person, but he was in town every morning buying coffee. They saw him out jogging. There were 100 different ways they could have taken him without going full on goon squad and putting a hell of a lot of people in danger and ultimately burning to death 120 something people, men, women, children. And nobody lost a job, went to prison over that, nothing. And I'll guarantee you, no one loses a job over this. Carton of peeps left over from last Easter. Yeah. Oh man. And like I said, when you read this warrant, read all the way down through it. If you guys want to read through it yourselves, the link is in the description, along with links for the code sections that they used. And just remember, they fucked up the code section at the start of the warrant. They mentioned 921. It should have been 922. Both code sections, 922, about illegal sales of firearms, basically being in the business of selling firearms without a license. And there's a lot of different ways that just pisses me off. This guy passed 4473s for every single firearm that was transferred to him that you see on this list, with his own identifying information there, own home address, whole 9 yards. This was not a dude trying to conceal activity. He wouldn't have been out at gun shows selling guns like that if he was trying to conceal his activity. He had a hobby selling guns. So what? Get back to this. I'm still not seeing the reason to kick this dude's door in at 6 o'clock in the morning, when you could have picked him up multiple other ways. Get into a gunfight, shoot the dude in the face. And Wilbur, what's up, my brother? And then if you get into the video, and hell, if I've still got it up, I'll post another link to it from Legally Armed channel, where this guy's family, I'm sure it was probably his brother-in-law, his wife, he was on life support. He was shot in the head. He was on life support, pretty much brain dead. And if this story tracks all the way where they wanted to donate his organs, and the ATF and the federal government somehow stop his family from donating his organs, that's a whole nother level of government overreach. That if this country had any damn sense, that organization wouldn't exist. And the people who do this kind of stuff, that are kicking in doors and doing this, and then they would be the ones going to prison if this country had any sense whatsoever. But there's too many people brushing their damn teeth with boot-flavored fucking toothpaste, and they don't think anything about this. It's the government. Well, you did something wrong. You did something the government said you shouldn't do. Care. This guy was not an active, violent threat. And by all intents and purposes, this guy was a pillar of his community. You don't get a job working at the Little Rock Airport overseeing things. And there's other articles that say where, the Little Rock Airport had expanded under him, was doing real well under his management. You don't get those accolades if you're a complete shithead. This guy sold his own property and drove like a fucking maniac. If that was illegal, one, I'd probably be in prison for driving like a maniac because I speed everywhere I go. Any feds in the audience, yeah, you'll find me. Not hard. And there are certainly people that I know that I can't stand riding with because I just drive fast. They weave in and out of traffic, jump lanes, curves, whatever the fuck they got to do to get where they're going. All the time, some of them while putting on makeup. If that was the crime of the century, I guarantee you there are a lot more people that need to be picked up versus this dude. Oh man. Bet they find CP on his computer. Oh yeah, dude, it wouldn't surprise me. Not with our government. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Just to trash him. And I'm not saying that he had it on there. What I'm saying is I wouldn't put it past our government to put it there. That is a good one, Bob. Don't put makeup on while selling guns. What if I put the makeup on to sell the guns? Or what if right after I sell the gun, then I put the makeup on? There are questions here. It's just like, man, you got to laugh about some things, but Jesus Christ, man. If this isn't some major police state tactics, I don't know what is. And we see other cases. CRS would be one. The Navy guy, I'll find all his stuff one day and we'll roll through his if I can find a warrant for him, where the government just completely fabricates evidence against you and throws you in prison. Where stuff you had for decades that's been legal, they can all of a sudden make a judgment and be like, nope, that shit's illegal now. If you got it, then we get to shoot you in the face, take your life, take your property, throw you in prison. Now, you can't do that, Lightning. I found out the last 4473 that I did. Now, it didn't get filed, so it's not what messed it up. But when I filled out the paperwork, I checked non-binary, and my dude, the FFL, said, look, Coop, you can't do that. It's got to match what's on your driver's license. So he had to scrap that form, and I had to fill out another one. Go figure. Because the new form does have non-binary on it. Man, we got. What is it saying? Yeah, we're from the government and we're here to help. It'll be interesting to see what we find out in the coming days about what happens with this case. Considering his wife is listed in the affidavit at being there for one of the sales, I wouldn't be surprised whether they tried charging her with something. Now, there's a chance that they might get enough backlash and enough bad press off this, they could back off of her. I wouldn't put it past them, though, to try to charge her with stuff and then to go in there and do civil asset forfeiture on basically everything this dude owns. So we'll see how this hashes out, and if we can even keep track of it in the next year, months, year, something like that. Barton, yep. Oh man. And you would think someone basically checking a box admitting to the fact they have a mental condition probably would be a factor to stop them from buying a firearm, but no, it's not going to work that way. Nope. Oh man. There's a lot more I feel like I really want to go into, but I don't know. I got to kind of collect my brain on this one after reading through all that. And especially knowing, ultimately this dude's dead. Really and truly for nothing. There's there are people out there who are actually violent criminals that the ATF could go after. But they'll go after this dude. And he looks, hold on, let me see, because I got one of the articles up. I think it's got his picture on it. That one doesn't. Let me see. And how we might watch one quick thing on it. Let me screen share this. Yeah, this is it. So honestly, does this dude look like your criminal mastermind, or is it just like what I think? He looks like the most milk toast person you could ever run into. Because that's straight milk toast right there, and especially working in an executive position like he worked with the airport. Fox News Digital reached out, Little Rock Police. This was a statement from one of the guys, I guess, at the airport. Today's incident saddens us, and we pray for everyone involved in the State Airport Commission. Chairman Bill Walker. As the chairman of the Little Rock Municipal Airport Commission, I've named Tom Clark, the airport's deputy executive director, as acting executive director. The airport's day-to-day. Don't show those pictures. That's scary. So Malinowski joined Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport in 2008 as director of properties, planning and development. Was promoted by deputy director in 2009, according to his biography on the airport website. There is your official ATF absolute thugs. There's no other way to describe it at this point. Hold on, let's see. Does it have the actual story? Come on, damn it. And today's video headlines. Anyway. Let me do something, because if we can let me do one thing before we get out of here. I'm going to try to see whether anything news popping up as far as the actual lamestream media on this dude. $13 ago, 21 hours ago. This looks like this might be one of the newest ones.
We begin tonight with breaking news in the shootout between ATF agents and the executive director of the Little Rock Airport. A redacted affidavit now revealing the ATF was investigating Bryan Malinowski after guns in separate crimes across the country were traced back to
Listen,
him.
I'll be right back.
Officials at the airport confirming today that Bryan Malinowski has died. He served as the executive director at the airport for the past 8 years. ATF agents went to serve a search warrant at his home Tuesday morning in West Little Rock. At some point, shots were fired, injuring an agent and Malinowski. According to the affidavit given to us by the U.S. Attorney's Office, Malinowski purchased more than 150 guns between May of 2021 and February of this year. The affidavit says at least 6 of those guns were later recovered in separate crimes across the U.S. 3 more were brought in undercover purchases by the ATF. Now, during the course of the investigation, Agents learned Malinowski was selling guns without a proper license and without doing the proper paperwork on those that he was selling them to. Through an
Again, I will submit to the class that this dude was selling guns as a hobby and didn't need a fucking license.
attorney, the family of Bryan Malinowski released a statement calling Malinowski a, quote, gun owner and enthusiast. The statement goes on to say, in part, quote, we do not understand the government's decisions, which led to a dawn raid on a private home and triggered the use of deadly force. For now, we will wait for all of the facts to come out.
So that's where your mainstream media is covering this. And that's enough to make you sick, too. Yeah, Bob, by all accounts, from what I see from this guy, just doing some very basic stuff. He's just sold guns on the side. He had a hobby. He sold guns. Again, to me, it's like selling any other property. And when they say, oh, guns used in crimes, notice they didn't say guns that he sold then were stolen and then used in crimes, or some of their crimes of the century that they're talking about, that they're trying to make it sound like were simple possession crimes where someone had weed. Fuck, man. Well, Bob, we know why they won't go after Glock switch sellers in places like Chicago, because they don't give a fuck about them. But they'll go after this dude's milquetoast ass. They'll kick in your door, my door. Why go after the people who are actually committing violent crimes? No, this guy was a gun trafficker. My ass. And from what I've seen, the same day. Yeah. With all the surveillance they had on this dude, they can't put him in a single place where he was selling Dirty Biscuits, the gangster, full autos out of the trunk of his car and telling Dirty Biscuits, the gangster, hey, you go out there and shoot these people up. Or this is a great gun for drive-bys. None of that. Milquetoast dude, airport executive, and our government goes and when they could have picked him up any number of different ways that didn't involve a high risk raid kicking in this dude's door. Because even in the warrant, it admits that people who have guns like this typically have guns on them. Why would you not arrest him in a situation where it was less likely to turn violent? Like at the gun show while you're standing in front of him buying a gun. This whole thing fucking stinks so damn bad. And people are, it to me, and we'll get into, and I've touched on it a couple times earlier. It doesn't stink to me that this dude was selling guns. Plenty of people sell guns. There are other property. They sell cars. They sell homes. They, anything. So it doesn't stink to me that this dude was selling guns. It doesn't stink to me that some of these guns had showed up when they were reported stolen from the person he sold it to, and then showed up in California with a Norteño gang member. And it doesn't surprise me because guess fucking what, people? Criminals usually buy stolen guns. Now, the dude who had a previous robbery conviction in 2021, again, he wasn't caught with that gun robbing somebody, shooting at somebody, or anything else. They pulled him over and he had weed in the car. So I'm just not worried about weed. If he had 20 pounds of meth in the car, not worried about that either. Was he doing anything to violently harm someone without just cause? No. Well, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, they did that rule change not too long back where they put that rule through that said if you were selling any firearm that you needed an FFL. Basically, if you made any sort of profit selling any sort of firearm, you needed an FFL. So if I bought some slick ass Python revolver back in the 60s, and I've owned it since the 60s, and it doesn't even matter what condition it's in. If I sold it for a higher price now than I bought it for in the 60s, that would put me in the position of being an FFL or needing an FFL according to our illustrious ATF and the pricks that run them and the jackboots that kick in doors for them and their little industry officers who go out there to inspect all this stuff. Oh yeah, they definitely want that registry. And we know that's why all the information changed on the 4473 not too long back to where, it used to be a twofold deal, or some of the information was on the back, and well, they put all the pertinent information on the front of it so that they could scan them easily. And we already know John Crump and everybody else has done stories where they have billions of records. And the ATF director, Steve Dittelbach, dickhead, is in a congressional hearing going, oh, we're the only agency that pays for not to have the search function on the Adobe software, knowing good and damn well he could check one box, have that, and then be able to search all those records. Everything's optically scanned. So the ATF already has a very much illegal registry. Tread, what's up, my brother? Yeah, man, Tread, I'm not sure how much you want to listen to this because you'll probably sound like me at work sometimes and people will think you got Tourette's because just the sheer ridiculousness of this entire situation. But your average person watching the average mainstream media, one, they're so uninformed about gun laws, it's not even funny. And two, most of them are absolute non-playable characters who get their update from the media and find nothing wrong with the government kicking in your door and shooting you in the face because you sold your own legal property. And yeah, you're right, P38. There weren't any until, oh shit, I can't remember really what exact year in the United States. Most guns were made by small mom and pop people cooperating with blacksmiths, manufacturing firearms, and then selling them. There weren't any big manufacturers. Hell, until 1943, you didn't have to have these licenses to sell. And these licenses to sell put a fuckload of mom and pop businesses out of business. A lot of country stores that sold firearms at the time, when it turned over that they were going to have to spend the money for these FFL licenses, they couldn't afford that shit. Not for the volume of guns they were selling, because they were only selling a couple shotguns a year. So they left that out of their supply. And in a lot of cases, then some people didn't need to go to those particular stores anymore. So it just shut down more and more businesses. And it's been going that way for freaking ever. Let me change something to get rid of. Well, I'll tell you what, since I'm doing this, let me kill one of my screens. Wrong one. So anyway, Yeah, that's a freaking great link, Bob. Yeah, that's who I thought it was from, was some GOA. And guess who's involved with GOA? Our buddy John Crump. GOA, Amalan. I can't remember where all of his articles go, but anyway. So that's the absolute insanity. AP38, man, we'll catch you after a while, brother. I'm fixing to close this one down. I'm gonna go, I don't know, find a bunch of Motrin and I don't know, crush them up, snort them like Hunter Biden doing cocaine or something, and try to get rid of the headache I've gotten over this last little while reading this horse shit. But again, it'll be interesting to see where this goes and just how far they bury it, because I'm expecting them to throw a mountain of bullshit on top of this story and try to bury it as quick as they can. Because there was absolutely no call for it, none whatsoever. So yeah, let me end this here, guys. Who knows, if this rain keeps up, I might start something else up after a while. Need to down the text reader. Yeah, hey, what can I say? Last time I did a text reader on something as boring as shit, though, that's when we were doing the NFA hearings and went through the text on that. And that was damn near, it was more painful listening to the text reader than it was me. I got to find a better text reader. Anyway, let me get out of here, guys. Let me go check on my boy. I know he went in there. He got back to napping. So let me see what else we're going to get into. If this rain hangs out today, we might crank another one up today just to, I don't know, shoot the shit or something and hang out. Yeah, so we'll end it as always, guys. You guys be cool. You perps be cool. And if you wonder why I call you guys perps sometimes, for anybody new listening, well, it's because your government thinks you're a perpetrator and they just haven't caught you yet. Hence kind of the stream today where they shoot some dude in the face. So anyway, you perps be cool. Keep that thing on you at all times, and we'll catch you on the next one. Other than that, you guys all have a great rest of the day. And just be careful out there, guys, because it's serious. As much as we're monitored, anything that we do, the government will use against us. So it is what it is. Anyway, love all you guys, man. You perps take them easy. We'll holler at you on the next one. Later.